Archives of Prasar Bharati presents the timeless treasure of golden era.
Hello and welcome to Living on the Edge. This week, in response to scores of viewer letters, we take a closer look at the laws that are meant to prevent cruelty to animals and ask whether they really work. Show you how this man's wealth comes from the most unexpected of sources, and take a look at a citrus fruit associated with freshness, which has many more uses than you could ever imagine.
You have to have instructive programs which make people more aware of the environment. Of animals are part of human race almost, that they are part and parcel. We've lived by them, we lived on them, we live using them, and everyone should be educated more about them.
About 1500 years ago, Chanakya's Arthashastra first laid down the law against cruelty to animals. In 1960, the Prevention of Cruelty Towards Animals Act was based on the same principles as the Arthashastra, with a view to prevent unnecessary pain or suffering to animals.
This act is such a toothless act that it does not give the SPCA enforcement staff enough authority and power to bring offenders to task or do justice to their job.
The prevention of cruelty is not enforced by the Animal Welfare Board. It is done by the state government and the autonomous bodies which have been established, or the societies which have been established for the prevention of cruelties.
It is the function of the Animal Welfare Board to encourage the formation of public opinion against infliction of unnecessary pain or suffering to animals, and for the promotion of animal welfare by means of lectures, books, posters, exhibitions and the like.
Children are supposed to be attached to the animals, that they're supposed to cry, "Mom, we want a dog," but you see them hitting the dog with stones and playing with them. That's their sense of entertainment.
God's created us, He's created them too, and He's created them so that we can live, okay? And I mean, if we go on hurting them like that, it's not fair on our part.
The school children, they have to be given education from the class 1 in the schools, everywhere. So that it is not the question of the animals, it is the question of living beings. So one has to give a respect to the animal kingdom. Right now the act is there, but how many people are obeying the act? How many people are obeying the law? So I don't think that hardly even 1% of Indians, they are following the law.
Any police officer above the rank of a police constable who has reason to believe that an offence against this act has been committed with respect to any animal may seize the animal and produce the same for examination before a magistrate.
First, the police is not taking action at all. If the police takes action at some time, then at that time they have to bring that animal and produce it to before the magistrate. And supposing the magistrate is sitting at the 4th floor, how the animal can be taken to the 4th floor of the building?
Then you have to see from the police angle also. The police has got its own priority. The dealing with the crime and criminal, the dealing with the heinous and grievous type of the offences gets the priority over any other things.
The police have a very stale excuse which they always give with regard to animal protection, that they have so many human problems on their hand that this is last on their priority list. And besides, most of them don't know that they're supposed to be the law enforcers.
If any person beats, kicks, overrides, overdrives, overloads, tortures, or otherwise treats any animal so as to subject it to unnecessary pain or suffering,
as far as the cruelties part is concerned, I don't think that any thing has been done in this regard except a lip sympathy.
if any person conveys or carries, whether in or upon any vehicle, any animal in such a manner or position as to subject it to unnecessary pain or suffering,
The government has framed certain rules for transportation of animals. We have specified the numbers also. But there are certain, you see, the rules are not followed, although they are making efforts.
if any person keeps or confines any animal in any cage or receptacle which does not measure sufficiently in height, length and breadth to permit the animal reasonable opportunity for movement,
any zoo shouldn't keep large number of animals in cramped conditions.
We have to analyze whether the deaths are due to some reasons which can be avoided. And one reason that we could think is that in some cases the number of animals in enclosure has gone beyond carrying capacity.
he shall be punishable with a fine, which shall not be less than rupees 10, but which may extend to rupees 50.
99% of the offences that I mentioned over there are not cognizable and they're all bailable. And the fines are so ridiculously low that the offender doesn't think twice if he's going to commit a second offence.
The central government, on the advice of the board, may constitute a committee for the purpose of controlling and supervising experiments on animals.
The committee to control and supervise experiments on animals in the country. It was made under an act of the parliament, and very sadly most people in that committee were the ones who were involved in doing these experiments. The committee's tenure was 4 years. 4 years are over and it has not been revived.
It shall be the duty of the committee to ensure that animals are not subjected to unnecessary pain or suffering before, during or after the performance of experiments on them.
The people are worried. They are worried that if the ethical code of animal experiments is being followed religiously, then probably they will not be able to do as much experiments as they are doing at present.
No matter where you turn, the barbarism towards animals is unending. In a country like India, where more important issues demand most of our time, animal welfare may seem too romantic a notion to consider seriously. The question is, can we treat the animals we use for entertainment to deepen our scientific knowledge or act as a means to a living with a little more compassion? Until that happens, any number of acts for the prevention of cruelty towards animals will be nothing but pieces of paper and only prove the age-old aphorism, laws are meant to be broken.
Known once as the Garden City, it may have lost its epithet forever. traffic jams, overflowing garbage bins, clogged drains and booming construction activity is what Bangalore is all about now. Unplanned urbanization has taken its toll. And yet, Bangalore, or rather an individual living in Bangalore, has made a name by causing large quantities of garbage to disappear on a daily basis. This is no mean achievement considering Karnataka's capital generates up to 2,300 tons of garbage every day. Many of the city's residents feel the municipality has proved unequal to the task of waste disposal.
The corporation is unable to cope, so they subcontract it out to people like us. They are unable to bear the smell, especially during the rains.
Sometimes they clean, sometimes they never clean, but they have made this a garbage now.
Garbage may be a bad word for those reeling under its impact. But for Mr. Ganesha, who won this year's State Environment Award, it's a ticket to substantial fortune. He's been able to convert it into a valuable commodity using a little enterprise and a lot of common sense.
Chemical fertilizer prices have started going up, and we thought this is the garbage which is available in the country will be a useful raw material for vermiculture biotechnology and microbial culture technology. So we have adopted all these techniques, and we are trying to hit a chemical fertilizer market by giving the equivalent product from in an organic farm.
Ganesha's raw materials are found in the unlikeliest of places: in slaughterhouses, garbage dumps, vegetable markets, and choked ponds. Every day he collects 20 truckloads of waste and transports it to his unit.
In an average, we get about 1 ton of final product, that is humus organic fertilizer, out of 1 load of garbage.
But how exactly does the process work? It's quite simple really. It takes 90 days and begins when plastics and other materials are separated from organic matter. Organic waste is then transferred into mud pits and mixed with coir pith, paper waste and water hyacinth. At this point, millions of earthworms are put into the pits. It's these worms that bring about the almost magical transformation of garbage into manure. The manure is collected as it forms, and nitrogen-fixing bacteria are added to create different types of fertilizer. Using his experience as a chemical engineer, Ganesha is able to recommend formulations for various crop requirements and the conditions under which they are grown.
We have various formulations for different crop applications. That means for coffee, for example, this volcanic rock formulation contains about 13 different ingredients, which is which gives copper content more, so that the fungicide usage in coffee plantation can be reduced, copper sulfate usage can be reduced, which the copper what we give is 300 microns, which is easily absorbed by the plant systemically, and the consumption of your pesticide will come down.
Though Ganesha fondly refers to his creation as black gold, its efficacy can be gauged only by farmers. Until that happens, many people will remain skeptical about his claims. But this does not bother him. He's already working on a new idea. If you've guessed that it's something to do with waste, you're right.
We are working on using gutter waste, that is slurry, as a raw material in our product. Then I think we'll be able to get another 1,000 tons of waste every day in Bangalore alone.
But Ganesha's greed for garbage might just go unfulfilled if the central government's plan to entrust waste collection to multinationals materialize.
I don't think any multinational company is required to solve this problem in India, because we have expertise as far as technology is concerned.
But whatever the outcome, Ganesha will always be remembered as Bangalore's garbage king. His filth to wealth story is inspirational because it shows you how conservation can actually help you make money and create a kinder environment. Who knows, Bangalore's disappearing gardens might just reassert themselves once again.
It's a fruit, not a vegetable, has many incredible qualities and can help you in more ways than you think. In fact, our forefathers were more acquainted with its uses than we are today. Tisha Srivastav takes you into the little-known world of this citrus fruit.
What's rotund, yellowy green, and inspired Mario Miranda to create a cartoon strip character after its drink? You can find it outside every superstitious shopkeeper's store, and it's a part of every Sabzi Mandi family. Its botanical name is Citrus aurantifolia. Most Indians have a simpler name for it. Lime or nimbu or nibu is known for its thirst-quenching and rehydration powers that one doesn't think it of much use beyond making nimbu pani or a lime cordial. But if you enter the lemon world, you'll be surprised to find it has many more uses than you could have ever thought of. In fact, it's one of the most utilitarian fruits going. So let's begin at the very end. This lemon's journey is over. Instead of throwing it away, you could put it into your plants. It's a natural source of calcium and phosphorus and will decompose into a very good natural fertilizer and increase the plant's natural resistance. In fact, dried lemon rinds are an excellent insect repellent for cupboards, especially on bookshelves with all those precious leather-bound volumes. And if your fridge is full of the smell of all the food it stores, the squeezed lemon rind is your answer to odor freedom. And what you can recommend to friends is to mix a few drops of lemon with mop water and phenyl. Ants will patronize your floor space less enthusiastically. And would you believe that when mixed with shoe polish, lemon drops actually help condition leather as well as help it shine more? Let's go back to food for a moment. When fruits are cut, they tend to lose color quickly if not consumed immediately. Just sprinkle a few drops of lemon and they'll taste and look as fresh as they come. In fact, in Vedic times, lime was considered a sacred fruit with unlimited medicinal potential in ailments as diverse as tonsillitis, peptic ulcers, arthritis, and scorpion stings. If you doubt its efficacy, rub lemon rind on swollen gums if you ever get them. In fact, on a regular basis, lemon juice in hot water is recommended as much for those perennial dieters as for those suffering from constipation. And for that nagging cold, mix the juice of 2 lemons in warm water flavored with honey. People who are nauseous are spared the effort of vomiting if they lick this. Speaking of cosmetics, many beauticians recommend adding it to your shampoo. Besides the luster, it's the most timeless dandruff remedy. It's equally recommended for cracked palms and sunburn. And yet, too much of a good thing is not good, they say. Its alkaline salts can be counterproductive if overused. But the fact remains that this table tennis ball-like thing is a wonderfully useful gift of nature. It remains up to us to put it to many creative uses. For example, who would have thought that this little fruit would have been used for warding off evil spirits?
The total number of people reached 1 billion in 1825, and it took about 2 million years to reach this level. The next billion was added in only 100 years by 1925.